Hello, my name is Jennifer Bronesty, and I want to talk to you today about my target student for my assessment module um, for the secondary level. Her name is Allie Smith, and she is a 14-year-old student who is in the ninth grade in the Van Buren Public Schools. And she was born on January the 10th, 2005. her The pregnancy was normal. Um, there were no complications, and all of her developmental milestones were pretty much within normal range, with the exception of some language skills. She would often confuse words and um, had a hard time expressing herself when she was young. But other than that, everything else was quite normal. Um, she she had quite a few ear infections when she was a younger child. She would often have these, and she ended up having to have her tonsils and adenoids removed. So, but since that time, she has been just fine. As far as her domestic situation, she lives at home with her biological father and her stepmother, who has adopted her. She has two siblings who also live in the home. She had kind of a traumatic experience when she was very young. Her mother abandoned her in a hotel room, and um, with her grandmother, and then her grandmother abandoned her as well. And finally, she was able to be reunited with her biological father and stepmother. And she has had no contact with mother since that time. She has been in their home since she was 3. And she is fully adopted now, and they hold all parental rights for her. She has very little memory of any of that. She does have some contact with another half sister who is very close in age to her, but the only siblings who live at home are her other two siblings, who are biologically um, her biological father and stepmother's children. Um, so they're younger siblings, but she's a very sweet girl, very, very quiet. You wouldn't even know she was there if you didn't directly speak to her. She tends to stay quiet to herself. But she's very willing to help. I actually had a new student in my class, and I asked her to kind of be her friend and partner with her, and she was very sweet, and was more than willing to do that for me. And um, she's a very very sweet little girl. Um, I really enjoy having her in my class. So she is in my resource English class, and she's there 50 minutes a day, 5 times a week, and she also receives services for math, which is again fifty minutes a day, 5 times a week. Um, Her evaluation was done on 1/16/17, and was when she was in the sixth grade. She was given the Wechsler Intelligence Scales, which is the WISC 5, which gave her an IQ score of 74, which is in kind of the borderline range for IQ. As far as for the verbal section, she got an 87, and the nonverbal section, she got a 68. So, um, within those ranges, the 87 was kind of in a low average area, and then the 68 was definitely in a deficient range. Um, she also demonstrated memory deficiencies. This this cognitive functioning really kind of put her in the intellectually challenged category. So with her IQ at 74, which is borderline. Um, as far as the academic testing goes, um, the academic achievement testing, what she was given was the Wechsler Individual Academic um, or Achievement Test. I'm sorry, which is the WIAT 3, the third edition. Um, for her word reading, she scored in with a 70, which and then reading comprehension was 71, word decoding 76, um, and then oral reading fluency was 77. Those are all in the borderline range of achievement. So, and then with mathematics, she scored in the in she scored an 80, and numerical operations was 77, and then spelling she scored a 77. Mathematics again borderline. Um, the reasoning skills she scored were the mathematical reasoning skills. Those were kind of in the low average range, but everything else was really in that borderline. Um, in her being able to compute math problems mentally was in the low average range, but the other stuff was really borderline. Um, in spelling, she also got a borderline score for there as well. So, excuse me. And weak skills were indicated with written expression in language. Um, then she was given the um, developmental test for visual motor integration, the DVMI, and she got a standard score of 113, which was in the high average range. So that visual to being able to use her motor skills to copy one thing to the next was in the high average range. Um, and on the auditory discrimination test, which was the TAPS test, where you're given two different word sounds and having to distinguish between the two of them, she was in the above average range on that as well. And then adaptive behavior on the Burke's rating scale. The two areas where she had very significant subtests were social withdrawal, which, like I said, she's very, very quiet. She, she really struggles. She won't speak up. If she has a question, you really have to kind of pull it out of her. Um, she struggles with that a lot. And she has, of course, ability deficits. On the Woodcock Johnson's psychoeducational test, the WJIV, um, she scored her reading score was 71, math was 77, spelling 76. So she scored in the intellectually challenged range as far as that goes. And then for adaptive behavior, she has a social withdrawal and the ability deficits as well. She passed her hearing and vision screening with glasses. Um, she, when thinking about where she is in comparison to her peers and where she should be, she is achieving below where she should be, um, which is why she receives services in language and math. Thank you.